Welcome to the Warfare Parenting Podcast. I'm Laine Lawson Craft, here to walk with you through the ups and downs of parenting prodigals. In every episode, we're going to get real about the struggles, sharing stories of hope, and learning how faith can turn things around. So let's dive in and discover the path to healing and hope together. Welcome to the Warfare Parenting Podcast. I'm so excited you're here today. This is episode 2 with Melissa Huray. Did I do it right, Melissa?
You did it perfectly, Laine.
We're so excited to have her. Now, listen, if you missed her first episode, you have got to go listen to it. She is a author of 2 books, which are just incredible. I'm sitting here to get the titles so I don't mess them up. Blackout's a Blessing. And that is all about her personal testimony. And you can read the first chapter free. And it is so powerful. I could not put it down. And then she's got her new Radical Freedom 365-day devotional book, Breaking the Chains of Addictions for Good. All of these are just incredible resources. I'm going to read, if you don't mind, Melissa,
Yes, thank you.
Melissa is an Emmy Award winning news reporter and anchor, and she's appeared on television programs such as His Glory Ministry and CBS Minnesota, WCCO TV. She is the host of the Hope Report podcast. And what's incredible about Melissa is that she is an addiction counselor with a master's degree in physiology, and she has spent 12 years counseling addicts in intensive outpatient treatment programs. And she is now the executive director of the Lindell Recovery Network. And Melissa, the My Pillow guy. I think everybody, if I said that, would know who we're talking about. Mike Lindell has a powerful story, and you are working with him and helping so many. So I really wanted to dive into the resources that y'all offer, and let's just talk about the Lindell Recovery Network.
Yes, thank you for that wonderful introduction. When you mentioned me being a news reporter and anchor, it seems like a lifetime ago, but that was like half my professional life. But after that, as you said, became an addiction counselor for 12 years. And at the end of that, I was seeing about 55 people a week at the height of my work. And I was becoming really burnt out and struggling really with guilt and feeling like, Lord, I know you want me to help addicts and I want to, but I'm really having a hard time with the compassion fatigue. I was in my prayer closet for about a year and a half and praying, but nothing seemed to be changing. During that time, I was at the mall here, and I live in the Twin Cities. As you said, I live in Minnesota, and I always just knew Mike as the My Pillow guy. I knew about his pillows, but I was at the mall, and everyone's seen a Mike Lindell cardboard cutout. So there was Mike at the mall, and I said to my husband, who's also named Mike, I said, "Hey, take a picture of me by the cutout of Mike Lindell." So I put my arm around the cutout and took the picture. As we were walking away, I said, I wonder why he wears his cross outside of his shirt like that. That's very interesting. And I know I'm not the only person who's noticed that, but I started searching on my phone, Mike Lindell, and it was pulling up all these stories about, as you mentioned, his addiction testimony. And I'm walking through the mall going, did you know Mike Lindell was a crack addict? And I was just so compelled by his story. I went back to my treatment clients and I started telling them, you need to go work at My Pillow. They offer living wage jobs. They hire felons and addicts, and he's a second chance employer. So I was kind of doing PR for him before I ever worked for him. I continued in the addiction treatment job for about another year, but I couldn't get it out of my head that I wanted to work for Mike Lindell. It says in Nehemiah too that God put something in Nehemiah's heart to make him want to rebuild the wall, and that's what it makes me think of that because I can't explain it. I just had something in my heart about wanting to work for him. Ultimately, I sent in a resume because I could never find any openings. And I didn't think I would hear from them, but they called me in for an interview a couple weeks later. And I didn't even know what the interview was for. I just thought this is really cool. I'm not gonna lie. I thought this is cool. I'm gonna meet the My Pillow guy. So I go into his boardroom or his conference room. He came in and he wrote all over the board about this vision he had for something. He said, I have this idea for a platform I want to create called the Lindell Recovery Network. He said it's going to be a video-driven platform. Testimonies have changed lives. Everybody, they've come to Jesus. This is how they're set free. There's going to be a pathway for churches, Christian treatment centers, and online help. He got all done with this for about an hour. And then I thought, okay, here we go. We're going to do the interview. I'm all ready. And he said, well, I want to hire you. And I said, you do? Do you want to ask me anything? You want to do an interview? Do you want to, do you have any questions? He said, no, I know that this is a divine appointment. Your name has come up 3 times this week, and I wanted to get you in here because I knew that you were the one I'm supposed to hire. So I was really kind of stunned. I remember walking out of his office thinking, what just happened? Should I really leave my job I've been at for 8 years to go jump into this new thing? So it was kind of a leap of faith, but it's been 6 years now. And we launched the platform in the fall of 2020. So it's Lindell Recovery Network.org. It's a free online platform that connects addicts to resources that help them ultimately come to know Jesus, but through a path that makes sense to them. So either churches, Christian treatment centers, or the online help. That's it in a nutshell. I'll
That's great.
stop and let you
Yeah.
ask
Well, I was
questions.
going to say my testimony is on there. Y'all interviewed me in
Yes,
NRB, and
that's right.
I was just so honored to be able to share the hope, to other parents that
I
no
love
matter
that.
how bad the addiction, I had one son that was into cocaine, porn, alcohol, you name it. And 15 years he lived in that lifestyle and was delivered supernaturally, as you know how powerful that can be. I have here that Mike Lindell was hoping to reach some of the folks with barriers to traditional treatment, shame,
Yeah.
stigma, cost, denial, or other reasons. And that's where the Lindell Recovery Network comes in. It's powerful, isn't it, Melissa?
It is, and it was really cool. And Mike and I came together. Like I said, I just thought he's the My Pillow guy, but we had so much in common with how we didn't believe addiction was a disease. We had been in treatment centers where we were told that, and it's like this is just really disempowering. This makes me feel like I'm a victim. I'm never going to be set free. And we had both been freed. Our testimonies are a little different, but Mike said a simple prayer of surrender in January of 2009. He woke up the next day and he never used again. So we both were like, yes, this isn't a disease. We don't want to continue promoting this disempowering message. And we want to point people to Jesus because we know that's the only way. So all of that was, we had that shared vision for it. And when we started, we only had 15 videos. So it's so amazing to see. It's like the boy with the loaves and the fish. We had 15 videos when we launched that platform. I remember being so excited. Yay, we got it live. And now we've got a couple thousand testimonies of changed lives that are real people like your story, people from Salvation Army, Adult and Teen Challenge, Gospel Rescue Missions. So it starts with getting people connected to people just like them who have struggled, who have gone through trials in life. And then the restoration is implied. You look at them and you think, wow, they've been set free, but how? And then ultimately you get to see their full length story because there's abbreviated versions on the main page, and then deeper into the site you see the full story, and then people can choose what they want to do, like you mentioned, catching some of the people who are never going to go to treatment. Only about 6 to 12% of people who meet criteria for a substance use disorder ever go to a program. Most of them don't want to. They have shame, barriers, cost, kids. They have so many excuses. So we're trying to engage them around things that make sense, that they're willing to do, like go to church. Maybe they'll do the Operation Restored Warrior program. It's a free, very powerful spiritual warfare and healing course we have on there, and many digital books. We have over 25 free biblical counseling guides from June Hunt and other people who have given their content to the platform. So Mike wanted all this to be free. He put $15 million into the platform. All you do is sign up for a free account and you can access everything there.
Yeah, and I have here, it says you have searchable databases for churches and Christian treatment centers in all 50 states. The Online Hope Center offers free resources, the Operation Restored Warrior program that you talked about, and the 25 digital books, biblical counseling guides that combine the truth of the Bible with effective evidence-based practices like cognitive behavioral therapy. I mean, it sounds like it is just amazing, and people could go in there, and can they do it anonymously, or I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, I really think that's one of the things that makes it very attractive. You can do it from the privacy of your own home. Many people, I remember going to my first AA meeting. I was still working in the news business and being so paranoid, who's going to see me here, as if anybody cared. I just had this idea that everyone was going to be watching me. So like I said, it engages people around things that make sense, that they're able to do, that they're willing to do. So Operation Restored Warrior, it's a course created by Paul Lavelle. If you go to a physical course in person, it would be very expensive. They do have grants and things. but they made this available in online form for free. So people can do that course in their home, receive healing, receive help for learning strategies for spiritual warfare, how to transform their mind. And then also, maybe if you do need a treatment center, we only promote free or low cost centers. So before we launched the platform, we spent 2 years vetting treatment centers in all 50 states, and we wanted them to be Christian. I mean, some programs, they say faith-based, but what does that really mean? Is that Christian? So we had to really dig into, is this a program we want to stand behind and put on the platform? Mike is very specific about that. He didn't want anything with yoga or any kind of new age stuff. All of that is off the table. So it's very back to basics. We want, like the Salvation Army, for example, it's an environment where they're all Christians. They're carriers of the Holy Spirit. They come into the room and they bring the power of the Holy Spirit. And it's like, it's an amazing place. It's just, whenever I go there to their chapel service, I almost like fall out in the Holy Spirit. But we want to send people to places where a transformation can happen. I mean, we're not sending them there, but we want to only promote Christian programs rather than a secular place where, yeah, you might get sober a while, but you're probably not going to have that inner transformation that leads to true healing in Jesus.
Wow, what a great resource. Tell us the website again.
Yes, it's Lindell Recovery Network.org. When you get on there, just sign up for a free account. It's no strings attached. I know sometimes people are like, why do you want my email? We're not going to spam you with email. We have, I think, 50,000 registered users right now. So we just very occasionally may send out if we have some promotional thing, but it's free. It's because Mike wanted it to be like a pay it forward program. And he has always been very generous with his time, his money, donating a lot to Salvation Army and Teen Challenge, giving his time, speaking there for free, things like that, donating books. And so we didn't want to charge anything for it. And so there's no cost. And people think they have this idea from the treatment industry that they need to pay a lot of money. And that was another thing Mike and I were frustrated with, that people would empty their 401ks or they would just go bankrupt trying to pay for treatment for themselves or a loved one. So that is why we only point people in the direction of quality discipleship programs.
Well, Melissa, this has just been so wonderful. Again, let's go to your website. Give them your website so they can go and read the first chapter free and find out all about your testimony and your books.
Yes, thank you. I really appreciate any opportunity I have to point people to Jesus, because this isn't really about me at all. The writing books, the things, the doors, the opportunities are all from him. But it's melissahuray.com, Melissa Huray.com. You can get either of the books on Amazon or on my website. Blackout to Blessing is the memoir, and you can read, I think you can read the first, I can't remember if it's first, oh, the prologue in the first chapter. You
Yes,
can read,
yes.
and then the devotional book too. And if you want to get a whole box, email me at info@melissahuray.com. I have special pricing for people who want to buy a box of books.
So wonderful. Again, Melissa, I know you're very busy. I thank you so much for your time. And again, it's the Lindell
Thank you.
Recovery Network.org. Please go there today. There are so many resources, and we're so thankful that Mike paid it forward. Out of his pain and he made a purpose, and he made a message out of his mess, and is now helping tens of thousands of people find Jesus and recovery, right?
Yes, Laine, thank you so much for what you do. You are just a carrier of light, and I appreciate your ministry so much too.
Thank you. Thanks again, and we hope you were all blessed. Thanks for joining me on the Warfare Parenting Podcast. I hope you're leaving with a heart full of hope and some spiritual strategies to help your wayward child and bring your prodigal home. Remember, you're not alone in this journey, and with God, everything can change. I invite you to the many free resources at LaineLawsonCraft.com. Don't forget to read the free chapter, the first chapter of my newest book, The Parent's Battle Plan, and sign up for weekly encouraging emails too. Stay in touch on social media, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm Laine Lawson Craft, reminding you with love and faith, no thing is too hard or big for our God. See you next time.